univerzity. Tady ale také vyrůstali a v prvních kapelách hráli přátelé a později členové legendárních Pink Floyd, Roger Waters, Dave Gilmour a především Syd Barrett. Barrett přivedl skupinu k prvním úspěchům a jeho rodné město 2 roky po jeho smrti uspořádalo na jeho počest řadu akcí, včetně výstavy jeho obrazů.
Well, Syd took the band into early fame. Roger Waters was not a big figure at that stage. Syd's early singles, which were very sort of happy and bouncy and to do with gnomes and fairies and rainbows and things, made the band popular within that rising psychedelic counterculture that was happening in London in 1965, 66, 67.
He already knew Roger Waters from Cambridge because they were contemporaries at the same school and they lived very close to one another. So he joined the Pink Floyd and all of a sudden he was a rock star.
So I think Syd probably put the Pink Floyd at the beginning of a very successful path, and then Roger Waters took up that baton, if you like, and, ran with it and made the Floyd huge.
Barrettovi přátelé z Cambridge si ho pamatují ze 60. let jako mimořádně charismatického a výjimečného, ale také křehkého člověka, který po několika letech vyhořel.
I'd see Syd and my mouth would just drop open and I would just stare at him and I just wanted to be in his presence and be like him, no? Not to really copy him, it's just that he represents something that magnet. How do you say? I was drawn to it, like to a magnet, no?
But he was very quiet, shy, unassuming, very pretty, very nice manner about it.
Band, and we needed a bass guitarist, and he was a very talented guitar player, and I thought he was a good singer. He didn't, but I did. So he joined the band for about a year. So we played lots of pubs and some of the ballrooms in Cambridge, and unfortunately he went off to a London college to study painting and the band just packed up.
For a few years he was a delightful, sunny, radiant, happy, cheerful, amusing, charming, good-looking man, or young man. And then we can't forget that after he broke down for whatever reason, he became very sullen, dark. He had a 1,000-yard stare. He was unapproachable and clearly very unhappy. And eventually he left London, where he'd been making his fame.
And by 1971, he was already couldn't communicate properly. He just used to sit there and stare. He still looked really wonderful. He still looked great, no? And you still felt the charisma around him. But he would just sit there and stare and then burst out with laughter. He could hold a conversation at that point, probably only for a few seconds, and then he'd laugh or go quiet or whatever.
Everybody says quite quickly that it's too much LSD, which is quite possible. It is a question as to whether he took LSD and the LSD revealed inside him things which maybe would not have come out, or maybe they would have come out later. Perhaps the LSD speeded things up and made him into the person that he was destined to be.
I think he chose to escape it in some way. Whether it went wrong or not, I don't know. But I think he just backed away from all those pressures.
Barrett přestal v kapele fungovat, při vystoupeních skoro nehrál a ostatní se proto rozhodli povolat jako záložního kytaristu Davida Gilmoura. Fotografie 5členných Pink Floyd symbolicky ukazuje Barretta zastíněného ostatními. Pár týdnů poté, v březnu 1968, musel ze skupiny, které vymyslel její jméno, odejít. Ještě nahrál 2 solové desky a v Cambridge se pokusil o návrat na scénu. Koncert v cambridgeském sále Corn Exchange dopadl v roce 1971 katastrofálně.
Syd ever played, which was for Stars with Twinkle and Jack Monk, and this is sort of where he froze and where he just sort of had totally lost the plot and just stood around and didn't say anything, didn't play, and then finally sort of walked off.
Zbytek Pink Floyd neviděl Barretta několik let. V roce 1975, kdy nahrávali album Wish You Were Here, věnované právě Barrettovi, objevil se ve studiu Abbey Road obtloustlý muž s vyholenou hlavou a igelitkou. Byl jsem zděšen, jak se změnil, vzpomíná ve své knize bubeník Pink Floyd Nick Mason. Od té doby ho již nikdo z kapely neviděl. Barrett se na dobro vrátil do Cambridge a začal zase malovat.
But he thought he would be a painter. That's what he said. I'm going to be a painter. I'm going to paint pictures, and that's what I want to do. And the music was a sideline which he was good at. He did a lot more abstract work, which is very exciting. It's very colourful and energetic. Then in his later years he returned to figurative studies, plant studies, flower paintings, very similar to the work he was doing as a student. So he did a journey from figurative through abstract and back to figurative again. Most of the paintings during his abstract period, from 1980 to 2000, he photographed and then destroyed the paintings. So the only record we have are the photographs that he took.
Ale ani malování nezabránilo tomu, že se Barrett uzavíral do sebe a před světem stále víc.
And he used to work at Sainsbury's. He used to sort of do the trolleys for 2 or 3 years. He just
when he came back?
Yeah, he just used to be at Sainsbury's. You'd see him and he'd just be putting all the trolleys together and things like that and just wandering around.
Syd was disappeared into the woodwork. No one really knew where he was. Everyone knew where he lived, but they didn't know how to communicate with him.
No, I've never seen him since. I've seen him, but he wouldn't speak. He wouldn't even acknowledge who I was. If he even knew who I was, he was very distant. He was somewhere else. Yeah.
I didn't see him after he left London. I didn't see him for 40 years. And then I learned 2 years ago that he had died.
So this is the last painting that Syd ever painted, and he completed it 2 days before his death in 2006.
What exactly is a dream?